Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. I believe you should be hearing me now. All right. Is everyone hearing me? All right, good. Sorry about that. You know, it is technical difficulties at times. All right, so let me just welcome everyone who is on tonight. Jeffrey Warrell, welcome. Just take some time to send the meeting out last week. I was very excited to be here. We had a good time last week. And then Ratty said, he just needed some more time to recuperate. He's coming on well, but who little more rest won't hurt anybody. So I'm glad to be here again tonight. Last week we had a wonderful time. We talked about common ailments, herbal remedies for common ailments, and tonight we're going to continue with that. Let me just talk about the petition that we have, that we're still pushing, the Magnitsky Petition. If you haven't signed it as yet, please do so. You can go to the website. The link is going to be shared with you, and sign the petition. And we're also asking persons to share the petition as well. We're asking persons to contribute, but please don't contribute here. Don't contribute at the Magnitsky Petition site. We're going to post the link also, telling you where you can make your contributions, because the contributions are needed as well. So you can donate at the ojldf.net website. You can go there, you can sign. So please sign the Magnitsky Petition, and do not donate at the petition website. The link is right here. You can click that link if you want to do your contribution, so you can go ahead and make your contribution. A lot is happening, and we need to come together as one people, as one nation, and do all that we can to promote our nation. Welcome, Carla Ebanks. Blessing to you. So tonight we're going to be looking at a number of ailments. We're going to be looking at cold and flu. We're going to be looking at menstrual issues. We're going to be looking at joint pain and inflammation, and we're going to be looking at insomnia. So we're going to look at those ailments. And I'm going to be sharing with you some herbs, as well as some herbal, traditional herbal remedies, as well as I'm going to be sharing with you some recipes as how to prepare these herbal remedies. As is usual, you can ask your questions. You can ask your questions as it relates to the health concerns that you may have, as to the health ailments that your family member may have as well, and we will intermittently deal with those as well. Last week we spoke to a number of ailments, and I noticed a number of persons are struggling with flu and cold and allergies. A number of persons have come down with that. One of the first things I want to say to persons is, you want to ensure that at that time you're not eating any dairy products. At this time, you are not eating any dairy products. You want to stay away from far from dairy. What happens when you eat dairy products, by the way, is that dairy contains certain ingredients that encourages the production of mucus, right? So if it is that you eat certain dairy products, the mucous membranes are overly stimulated, And so what happened is that the body is going to be producing high levels of mucus because it wants to flush the system, and that overly production of mucus is going to further contribute to respiratory ailments, and so on. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to avoid it, those cheese, milk, and those products that would overly stimulate your system. You also want to avoid stress, because stress will contribute to making your condition worse. And then you want to get increase your zinc intake. You want to increase your vitamin C. As a GA farmer says, Dr. Ben, can I drink dandelion tea while on BP meds? It depends on the BP meds that you are on. And so I'm going to answer this two ways. So generally, no, it shouldn't be a problem. Generally, it shouldn't be a problem. But even though that may be the general case, I always say to persons, you want to talk to your healthcare provider. And you always wonder why they always say that. Why do they always say take care of your healthcare provider? One of them is that even though what I'm sharing with you is general information, your healthcare provider or your GP, your general your physician, that person who has would be working with you over a period of time, and so they would be familiar with your health condition. And welcome, Missy Bram, and they would be welcome, Herbert Towselin. They will be familiar with your health history, with your medical history, and because they are familiar with your medical history, they will also know what medications you are on, because some herbs may not cause an adverse effect that is life-threatening, but they can have an adverse effect in that they reduce the effectiveness of a particular medication that you're on. So from that perspective, I always say to talk to your healthcare provider. But in general, dandelion will not interact with your blood pressure medication. And I know we're talking about different types of blood pressure medication, but you still want to talk to your healthcare provider before you undergo or take on any type of health regimen. All right. So thank you for that question. Right. So as I was saying, we're gonna start out talking about mucus, and we're gonna look at some herbs. But I want to lay the foundation, because what I don't want person to think is that once they have an ailment, what they need to do is just to find a herb that will fix the problem. A lot of the ailments that persons have, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are from lifestyle decisions that they have made. And so we always have to look at the lifestyle decisions as well as the habits that may be contributing to it. And so, I see a lot of persons with cold, flu, allergies, sinuses, and they're eating on things that they shouldn't be eating. So the first thing you want to do is you want to rule out those lifestyle practices that might be contributing to the problem. All right, and then you want to look at now some of the potential herbs. Because while I'm doing this, I'm also thinking about some herbs that comes to my mind. So I'm gonna ask OT if you're ready to post. Just post the first herb that was sent to you. I will tell you. So we want to look at herbs that that are very good. One of them is a herb called thyme. And yes, this is okay, good. So there are a number of herbs that you can take that can help your condition. One herb that comes to my mind is a herb called what is it called again? Aurelia, or Aurelia. They call it Aurelia. When I think about cold growing up, This was one of the herbs that I know was very effective. And it's a plant. It's Aurelia is usually not difficult to find because it's an ornamental. So it's grown in a lot of yards as an ornamental or as a fence edging. And this is a herb that works very well in causing you to to pass up those mucus. A lot of persons have this plant growing in their yard and have terrible cold. Members of their household have cold, and they don't know that it is an excellent cold bush. One of the points that I want to address is that a lot of persons said to me, every bush a cold bush, or it seems that every bush that Jamaicans talk about, they say, boy, this good for cold and not good for cold. And I want to say that there is some truth to that. Not all of them are good for cold, but there is some truth to that because most plants contain certain phytochemicals that do help in boosting the body's immune system. So it helps with mucus. Some directly help by expelling mucus from this from the system. But a lot of Jamaican plants, a lot of plants have that characteristic about them. They help to get mucus out of the system. All right. Night Marva Dice. Good night. Good night, Loxley Gregory. All right. So as I said, while we're talking about these common ailments, as I said, if you have any questions, you can just feel free to write on the chat, and we will do do our best to share with you what we use traditionally for these particular health ailments. So as I was saying that there are a number of herbs out there. Many herbs out there have the ability to help with cold and flu. So another good remedy is vitamin C, as I said. So sour orange. Sour orange is very good, or we call civil orange, because it's high in vitamin C. Is very good for cold and flu. As a matter of fact, if you can make a tea with the sour orange or the civil orange, the ginger and the garlic, and add a little honey to it, you don't want a better remedy. And so 2 tablespoons of civil orange juice with an inch of ginger and a tablespoon of honey with a cup of water. If you make a tea like that and drink it, and better yet, if you drink it every hour, you'll find that within a day or two, you will not only arrest the mucus, but those ingredients are also antibacterial ingredients. So they would help to kill potential bacteria or kill potential viruses that might be at the root of the problem. Because I don't know if you've ever had like a cold or a flu, and then there are some days, some morning, that it feels like you're up, that you're winning the fight, and then there are times when you're more of a victim. You're under the weather and you're being you find yourself on the losing battle. That is because usually when you have a cold or a flu, it is the result of a virus, and that virus may be at different stages. Sometimes your viral load may be higher, and sometimes your viral load may be lower, and so that fluctuation can happen throughout the period of time that you have the flu. Usually a flu is supposed to last for like 7 days, but then it can go to 14 days or 21 days. And so that determines on the viral load, that determines that is based on the viral load, or it's based on your immune system. And so it's very important that you boost the body immune system. So the honey, the ginger, and the civil orange are 3 very powerful ingredients that can help to give you that competitive edge in overcoming your cold and your flu. So as I said, the time that you cook with, that's also another very good ingredient. You can drink, make a tea from the thyme, and that helps tremendously. You know, our grandmother would also at times give us these herbal teas, and sometimes they would send us to the room, and they would allow us to wrap up in a blanket, and then we would sometimes just sweat out the flu. All right. So civil orange, or what we call sour orange, um, very high in vitamin C. Remember, that tanginess that you're tasting is the result of vitamin C. High potent levels of vitamin C. That helps to boost the body's immune system. So you can do that repeatedly every hour, and it gives you the competitive edge. There's also other recipes or remedies that we have lying around at home, like turmeric. These are just some remedies that we should always have on hand. We should always have stuff like turmeric, because it's anti-inflammatory, it's immune boosting. So we can drink that as a tea as well, and it will help to boost the body's immune system. Remember though that if you're using turmeric, you might want to, so if you're using like a half teaspoon turmeric or an inch of turmeric, you might want to add like a quarter teaspoon of black pepper, and that helps to um, make the curcumin available to the body. You can also sweeten that with honey as well. That also helps to boost the body's immune system. Um, Today somebody called me about a herb called licorice. Not a very good herb. A recipe that I share with persons, and then a recipe that I share with person is you can also get the honey, and you can make what is called an elixir. And this is something that you can make and you can have it on hand. It can last for up to 2-3 years. All right. Okay. All right. I hear you, OT. And you can get some honey, get enough honey that can cover by about an inch the following ingredients. So you can get honey that can cover about cover the following ingredients that I'm going to share with you by about an inch. So ginger, onion, garlic, and if you want just a small amount of cayenne pepper. If you have children or this is for children, then you can leave out the cayenne pepper. So you can get like 2 inches of ginger. You can grate it or you can beat it. You can get a medium onion, and you can just cut it up in or dice it up. Good to see you, Queen Breezy. And you would put the onion, the medium onion, 2 inches of ginger, 3 pegs of garlic in a container. I prefer to use like a jam, like those little jam jars, and you cover it with honey by about an inch, and you leave it until the next morning, and you just start to give the person 1 tablespoon, and that's it. It's a very powerful recipe for Australian mocha honey is the best. As OT is saying, but good old Jamaican honey, good old lagwood honey. If you have some bees that were feeding on the lagwood, some very good honey. Lagwood honey is very good, or what we would call mango honey, but lagwood honey is good. All right, so you can go ahead, OT, put up the first plant. Okay, all right. No, this one is not. All right, so this herb is called cat's tongue. So this one is not dog, cow foot. This is a cat's tongue. And all right, take back down this one, OT, because we don't reach there yet. All right, we don't reach there yet. This is dog blood. We don't reach there yet. No, 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 no. All right, this one, I wanted to talk about. Anybody here know this herb? Anybody on the live know this herb? Anybody know this herb? All right, so this herb is called cowfoot leaf. And this is a herb that is extremely good for persons who are having joint pain. Right? If you're having joint pain and inflammation, this is a herb that you can crush the leaves. And when you crush the leaves, you can just make it into what we call a poultice. Just apply it to the area where the pain is, and you can use like a plastic wrapper, the one that you use to wrap food. Just use that to wrap the area, leave it on overnight, and by the next morning you tell us about the pain that you're having. This herb is a phenomenal herb for pain. Very good for pain. So you can use this externally. If you don't have this, another very good herb that you can use is when you believe it or not, cabbage. Right? And cabbage is mostly readily available. The only challenge with cabbage is that if it's not organically grown, and you don't want to use the white, you want to use the outer leaf of the cabbage. So you want to use the outer leaf of the cabbage, the green leaf, and what you want to do is you want to put it on a cutting board and use your roller to roll it. And you want to just macerate it or bruise it. And you can use the cowfoot leaf, the cabbage leaf, similarly to how you use the cowfoot leaf. And the cabbage leaf also is anti-inflammatory, and it is very good for the knee. You know, why we're talking about cowfoot cabbage leaf, because we're not looking at this particular condition tonight, but I know it's very common. I don't know how many of you know that cabbage leaf, cabbage is actually very good for the stomach. All right. So a lot of you who are having stomach acidity, traditionally one thing that was used was boiling the cabbage and then just drinking the water from that, or cabbage leaf tea. Just making the cabbage and just drinking the water from that. It's very good in terms of soothing the stomach. So a lot of persons were having issue because cabbage is also anti-inflammatory as well. So cabbage leaf is very good, not only for muscles and aching parts of the body, it's also very good for the stomach. Marilyn says that I lost my cow food from last year. Cow food? This is not cow food, this is cow foot leaf. It's called cow foot leaf because the leaves are very large and round, and they resemble the footprint of a cow when they step in the soil. So this herb is very good. All right, next herb. All right, come back up, go back up. This one, all right. No, this one, all right. And this one, we call it prickly ash. Well, in Jamaica, they call it prickly alamaka. And this herb is known around the world for its ability to help with pain. And as a matter of fact, just a while ago, I was blending up some of it. It's a very nice aromatic herb. It's a very nice aroma. and it has a very nice, Ronnie says, I have cow foot at my house. Very good. All right. Very good herb, Ronnie's. So this herb is, if you watch my programs, I'll tell you, this is one of my top herbs. I'm never out of this herb because of the many benefits that this herb has. This herb is one of the best traditional herbs traditionally used for rheumatoid arthritis. If you know of anybody that has rheumatoid arthritis, this herb is one of the best herb, especially when combined with another herb called cat's claw, a herb that we call puss claw maca. So this herb is very good, and it can be taken internally, it can be used externally. So as a matter of fact, in some cultures, this herb is known as the toothache plant. The leaves can be used because even the leaves, when you try to touch the leaves, the leaf stalk, all of it has prickle thorns on it. And when this plant, that big thorn that you're seeing there, when if one of this was supposed to prick you, I'm telling you, it is excruciatingly painful. All right, Ronnie says he has this plant as well. But this plant is good for rheumatism. It helps you to sweat as well. Most people use it for fence lining, and it can grow into a very huge tree. But this herb can be taken internally for pain all over the body. One of the active, when you extract, or when you harvest this tree, because the trees can grow really, really big. The bark, when you extract the bark has a similar look to turmeric. So it has a very yellowish bark, very strong odor. And when you take it internally, or if you take it as a tea, it helps with pain all over the body. And one of the reasons for that is that the active ingredients in this herb is the same active ingredients found in cayenne pepper. So chemical called capsaicin. It's just that the capsaicin found in this plant lasts 20 times as long in the body as cayenne pepper. So cayenne pepper also helps with pain, by the way. That's another very good herb to have. Our bird pepper. And what happened is that the capsaicin is the active ingredient. So this plant is called toothache tree because the leaves, if a person has toothache, you can also get the leaves and you can crush the leaves and just stuff it where the tooth is, or you can crush the leaves and the sap, the juice that comes up, you can take it and rub it on the gum. And what happens is that it almost numbs it immediately. It's like cocaine. It just cocaine the whole area. This is also a very good plant that you can soak in rum, right? You can soak in rum, and when you soak it in rum, you can use the rum to sap wherever you're feeling pain. And this herb will help to ease the pain very well. So if it sticks you, yeah, if it prick you, man, it's painful like hell, man. Take a long time for the pain to stop. And it's very easy for the point. How to use it. My husband has arthritis and spondylosis. So if your husband Ronnie's has those ailments, so he can take it as a tea. You'll have to try to find a very, very mature plant, in this case, which will be a tree. And you can get the bark and you can dry the bark. Chop it up before you dry it. Just chop it up, and then after you chop it up, and it's dried, you can put it in your blender because it's small enough, and you can blend it into a powder, and then you can take 1 teaspoon to 1 cup water. I would add, if you can, I would add ginger to it as well, because it's very, very nice when ginger is added, and it helps with the effectiveness of it. So you can add 1 teaspoon to 1 cup boiling water, and that helps tremendously with the arthritic pain, and with the joint pains, and with the muscle pains. And in addition to that, you can take the bark and you can submerge it in rum and alcohol, and then you can use it to now sap the area that you feel the pain. Sap it, let it stay for about a week in the rum, so that the alcohol would absorb the active plant components. And then what you would do is you would sap the affected area, and you would see that it helps, works very quickly in relieving the symptoms associated with arthritis. So the pain and inflammation and so on. All right. So that is the prickly ash. You can also do the same thing with, and then you can use salt. For those persons who are more technical, there are other modalities that you can use prickly ash and find that it's very, very effective. So for persons who are having inflammation, and I should say, if you're having inflammation, one of the things that is contributing to the inflammation is the type of oil that you're consuming. A lot of persons who have inflammation, the source of the inflammation is the inflammatory oils that you are ingesting. Especially for those persons who eat out. Let's just imagine when you go to some of the restaurants. We're talking about maybe 20, 30, 40, I don't know. I don't work in a fast food joint, so I don't know. But I know that the oil that is being used, there are many animal parts, there are many meats that are fried in that oil over and over again, and so sometimes it becomes rancid. And so when you do that, for those persons who don't eat out, even the oil that you use, the bottled oil that you use, a lot of times, because of how it is processed, it's very inflammatory, and so that is the source many times of the inflammation. So it would make sense to talk about these herbs if I wasn't addressing the lifestyle that contribute, the eating habits that contribute to it. So one thing that you want to do is you want to take a look at the oils that you're eating. If you're having pain and inflammation, just reduce the oils, and you'll be amazed how much the inflammation goes away just by removing the oil. The soybean oil, the vegetable oil, the corn oil, all these oils are very inflammatory, so you want to remove them, and if you remove them, you'll see the difference. All right. As I said, guys, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask your questions, and I'll interrupt the points that I have to answer those questions. All right. So we're looking at joint pain and inflammation. Another thing that contributes to joint pain and inflammation, especially as you get older, because as we get older, our bodies produce less of the raw material that it used to produce for us to experience health in the way that we used to. So one of the material that the body produces less is a compound called collagen. All right, a lot of reasons why. So those persons who need knee replacements, for those persons who need hip replacements, a lot of the time what happens is that the collagen production has been reduced so much, so that when there's wear and tear, when there's inflammation, and when there's damage on the ligaments, our bodies are not producing enough collagen to repair them and to heal them. And so what happens is that it's degenerative. And so what I said to persons is that you want to increase your collagen production. All right. Sorry, you want to increase your collagen production. And so foods rich in collagen include foods that are gelatinous, like if you eat animal cow skin, very good source of collagen. If you uh, eat chicken foot, not a very good source of collagen. Um, and if you don't, and another good source is what we call bone broth, right? Those are all meat sources. But if you don't eat meat, then a very good source is, of course, very good source is what is called sea moss. So sea moss is a very good source of collagen, and you know once you're consuming that, then the body produces collagen. When you don't have enough collagen, it affects your hair, your skin, your nail, your eyes, and so all of that complicates the problem. Right. So somebody here wrote, was that Elaine? I don't want to have you deviate from your topic. What would you recommend for someone with prosopagnosia? First, I'm hearing that one, but I looked it up, and that is it's more of a cognitive problem. It's called face blindness. So it's a cognitive disorder where individuals have difficulty recognizing faces, including their own. I'll have to look more on that, but as I say, it's a cognitive problem, and because it's a cognitive problem, you want to look at things that may be affecting deficiencies of the brain. Um, so and then there are certain traumas. A lot of time, trauma can cause it. A brain injury can cause it. So I don't know. I've never dealt with it before, so I'd have to look at it some more. Because some things, they aren't herbal remedies, but they are natural therapies. They are therapies that you can use to increase your effectiveness. All right. So Ronnie says that's so true because he's having less pain for the past year since I started using coconut oil, less fried food, and skin off all the fat from the meat. Right. So yeah, man. So a lot of the persons, so Ronnie's there is talking about the fact that her husband's inflammation has reduced significantly since she had paid attention to the oil. So she started using coconut oil, which is more natural, and she has less fried food, and she removed the fat from the meats. Right. So that's one way of reducing the inflammation. Um, Not Irish moss. Irish moss is the same as sea moss. Right? Um, Philly says, what herbs can lower the blood sugar in the blood? So there are a number of herbs that can do that. At the top of the list is cerasee, or bitter melon. It works very good in there's neem. Most bitter foods, because most bitter foods, what they do is they stimulate the flow of bile, and that bile now helps to neutralizes the blood sugar. So rice bitters, majo bitters, a lot of bitter herbs are very good in doing that. Philip. All right, so so this plant, going back to this plant, prickly ash, is very good. So you can make it as a tea, or you can apply it um, externally or topically to the skin. So that's it. If you want to do it topically, you can just get this plant, get the bark, soak the bark with ginger in rum, and you can use that as a sap to sap the area that you're feeling in pain, and it works well. It gives relief, and it helps give lasting relief because of the ingredients. Um, Doc, what helps with circulation? All right, so circulation. This herb also helps with circulation. Prickly ash also helps with circulation, and by using it with ginger, it also helps with circulation. So this is a top herb for circulation as well. Cayenne pepper helps with circulation. Most of what we consider to be spice. So by the way, most of what we consider to be spice helps with circulation. So most of the spices that we would use to prepare our meals, most of those spices, when taken by themselves and in the right amounts, are actually herbs that help with movement and help with circulation. So think about them. Scallion, garlic, ginger, pepper. Most of those spices that we know are most herbs, because even this plant that I'm telling you about, prickly ash, it is a spicy herb. It has a very good spicy odor. So it helps to circulate persons who are having poor circulation or swelling. This herb does a great job in working on that. All right, let's look at another herb while the questions are coming. All right, so this herb is called periwinkle, and it has many benefits, but for tonight, the purpose that we're looking at periwinkle for is its contribution in dealing with ailments that have to do with the menstrual cycle. All right, so this herb is one of the herbs that are very good for menstrual issues. And the menstrual issue that it is particularly good for is extended bleeding. So women who have extended bleeding, they're flowing beyond their normal cycle, and they want it to stop. Traditionally, this is one of the best herbs that was used for that. As a matter of fact, the just 3 leaves of that would help that. All right. So this is very good for that. All right. Very good for that. And this is another. And there's a white periwinkle. There's a pink periwinkle, and then there is the red periwinkle. All right. And these are also ornamentals. They're used ornament. Also, there's a white one, there's a pink one, and there's a red one. So the pink one is actually a cross between the red and the white that gives you the pink. But very good for menstrual cycle. Elaine says, Dr. Ben, what about on terrible fit of sneezing? It doesn't matter where the person is. She just sneezed. Sneeze. Germophobic and refused to be around her. No disrespect towards her. So this person might be having an allergic reaction, and a lot of times people we're in what is called now the allergy season, which is spring. So some persons are very allergic to pollen that might be in the air. So that may be one of the reasons. Another common reason is what we call dander. Now, dander is caused sometimes from certain fabrics in the home, especially certain fabrics that are furry. So you have some furry cushions like this one that I have here. So cushions like these that are very furry. These tend to be a haven for dander. Some rugs are like that too. Some curtains are like that. So that may be a problem as well. Then there are pets. So I don't know what is triggering, but most allergies are what is called trigger. Then there's dust mite, right? So a number of factors that can contribute to the person sneezing. One thing that is very good is what I call colloidal silver, right? Another very good in terms of plant is what we would call the nettles, right? Nettles is very good for allergies. So it happened both indoors and outdoors. Men are watching right now for your answer. Right. So Elaine, if she's having constant sneezing, then she might also need what is called a liver flush, because usually it's an allergy. Something is triggering her allergy, and then sometimes it is just something in the ear. But if it's not that, then I would recommend like a liver flush, and we can talk about that. If you reach out to me, I'll talk to you more about how you go about a liver flush, to help her with that. Allergy that she's having. Miss J.M. Songwriter says, cramp bark, ginger, blue vervain, I like dark blood, and dandelion leaves. Yeah, these are also good for menstrual issues. I guess she's talking about menstrual issues. But we have to be careful about dark blood, because dark blood can cause, because dark blood is a nervine. So first of all, it can cause continuous bleeding. So for women who are having extended bleeding, you don't want to drink dark blood, because dark blood is going to intensify the bleeding and it is going to prolong the bleeding. You also don't want to drink ginger, right? Somebody reached out to me from one of the small islands. Knows very little about herbs, but she wanted to be on the natural side. So she called me that she was having prolonged bleeding, and I asked her, what she was eating, what she was drinking, and to my amazement, one thing that she was drinking, and drinking a lot of, was ginger. Ginger is a blood thinner, and ginger increases circulation. So if you're having prolonged bleeding, you don't want to be drinking ginger. You don't want to be drinking dark blood. You want to stay away from those herbs, because those herbs can extend the bleeding process. If it is that you're outside of your menstrual cycle, you can drink those, and it won't affect you. So it's also when you're drinking it that can be the problem. Yes, so Maureen Hines says periwinkle is good to aid for sleeping difficulties. Yeah, and it's also good for diabetes as well. I mean, periwinkle has so many benefits to it. All right. All right. So, send in your questions. Send in your concerns. We nearly 1 hour in the show, and we have some videos that we want to share. We have two short videos that we want to play. One is about the petition, and the other is about understanding the budget. So I'm going to ask OT we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to continue looking at menstrual issues. We're going to be looking at menstrual issues and herbs that can aid. I have some more herbs that I want to share with you as it is the menstrual issues. So OT is going to share with you a video at this time on the petition. That's the Magnitsky petition, our petition on a whole, and then we're going to talk, share another video about understanding the budget. All right, OT?
We're saying that the Magnitsky Act was named after a Russian journalist / lawyer who uncovered tremendous amounts of corruption in Russia. And for that, he was arrested, beaten, and killed. So the US government named this act after him. And it's gone through some refinements. As it stands right now, the US government can revoke visas and seize property belonging to foreign government officials and private citizens for corruption, kleptocracy, and human rights violations. And believe me, my people, Jamaica qualifies in all three categories. All three categories.
All right, guys, so that's the first video. That's about the petition. And, you know, that is the reason why, because, you know, we have so much corruption around us, so much corruption in this nation. And we want to get persons involved as it relates to, you know, bringing justice to the forefront. And, you know, just allowing persons to know that they are going to be held accountable. All right, let's look at the next video.
How much time you ever hear the government announce a project and wonder why they must spend millions on this and not on that? Well, if you think there's nothing you can do about how your money is spent, think again. Jamaica's budget is more than just numbers. It reveals our biggest problems and goals, our plans to fix them, and what to prioritize. We can even call it a promise book of what will be done to improve our lives. Now, let's talk about the 4 stages of the budget cycle so we can understand how it works and get involved. Stage 1. Planning and review. The Ministry of Finance sends out a budget call to every ministry, which outlines the priorities and constraints to guide how those ministries prepare their budget. After ministries submit their drafts, the Finance Ministry reviews, compiles, and sends them to Cabinet for review and approval. Stage 2. Parliamentary debate and approval. The Finance Minister tables all budget documents in the House of Representatives. The Standing Finance Committee, which is all 63 MPs, sits to examine the budget documents, and each minister presents their budget and answers concerns the committee has. The committee's report is then tabled in the House, followed by the estimated expenditure, which is tabled as legislation called the Appropriations Bill. That's right, the budget of Jamaica is law. The budget debate formally opens. We have presentations from the Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister, Opposition Leader, and the Shadow Finance Minister. After their presentations, our MPs vote for or against approval. Like all legislation, it goes to the Senate for their approval and then to the Governor General for his royal assent, no later than March 31st, end of the financial year. Stage 3. Implementation. The new financial year begins and approved budgets are sent to ministries. Collecting taxes, borrowing loans, and receiving grants begin. And so does the spending. Stage 4. Budget oversight. Now, this is where citizens don't need permission to get involved. Throughout the year, operations and spending are assessed by internal auditors and the Auditor General's department that makes sure public entities are compliant with laws and that their financial reports are accurate. All Auditor General reports are submitted to our Parliament's Public Accounts Committee for review and cross-examination of public officials. The Ministry of Finance, Integrity Commission, and MOCA also monitor government spending to guard against poor financial management and corruption. It is our job to review these reports, check the findings in the newspaper, and look up if breaches are fixed at jampja.org. If not, ask your MP what he or she has done to ensure public officials are held to account. No more 9-day wonders. So, did the government follow through on their spending and investment promises last year? What promises will next year's budget have? How will they affect you, and how can you ensure that you get what is promised? For access to the national budget, check out JAM's easy digital version and contact info for your MP at jampja.org. Then link your MP and see what progress is being made throughout the entire budget cycle. Support JAMP. Let's do our job to make Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Wow. This is something that you can imagine. A video like this is not on the public media houses, or what we would call the mainstream media houses. Well, I haven't seen it, I heard it. And I think that if it's not there, it should be there. You know, usually every radio station or media house have this thing where they time allotted for government broadcast. This is something that I believe the government media houses, should be pushing and promoting, because what this does is that it educates persons how to keep the government accountable. And I know that I'm just hearing this for the first time, and I'm gonna find it online myself to try to absorb it and to go back over the 4 stages again, because I don't want to just have this information. I want to know how to use it. And so I'm happy for information like this, because what it does is that it puts power into the hand of the people. And that's where the power needs to be concentrated, into the hands of the people. Because so much, yes, thank you very much. I want to have this to go back over again and again, because this is how people are empowered. And this is how we are now able to keep the state accountable. All right? Very important, and so many times we feel powerless. We know that something is wrong. We know that things are not. This is not how it's supposed to be. But what happens most of the time is that we don't know, how to do it correctly. We know something is wrong, but we don't know how it is done correctly. So this now guides us into looking into any one of the steps, any one of the stages, and we can identify when a breach has taken place. And sometimes we can identify it at stage 1 and stage 2 before it reaches stage 4. So we can actually nip it in the bud. And you know what happens? Once our government begins to see that they are ruling over a population who are equipped in being able to identify breaches, then what happens is that we will see a reduction. I don't think we will see a complete avoidance or a complete lack of corruption. But what we at least want to see is a decrease, and a significant decrease in corruption. Ubuntu says, no government can convince me it's snowing when it is raining. That is so true, Ubuntu. So that's what we need. We need to educate the populace, and I want to lift my hat to the entity, to that organization who has embarked on such a such a task, because that is what Jamaica lacks. Jamaica lacks the population, the populace knowing, the populace being equipped to know where to find the information that they need, and how to even sometimes evaluate the information that they are being exposed to. All right, so we are looking at tonight, so grateful for that, those two bits of information. So tonight we're looking on herbal remedies for common ailments. And right now we're looking on remedies for menstrual issues. All right? Remedies for menstrual issues. We just looked at the periwinkle. This is the periwinkle. Let's move to another plant, OT. And this is a dog blood. This is another herb that has been traditionally used for a number of ailments, menstrual ailments. Primarily, it has been used for black tubes, black fallopian tubes. All right. It's primarily used for black fallopian tubes. It's also used for ovarian cysts. All right. It's used for ovarian cysts. It is used also for infertility. It's used also for infertility, boost fertility in women. And it has been used for abortion, right? Maybe that's one of the most use that is out there. A lot of women that reach out to us sometimes. Funny enough, most time women persons reach out, it is either to help with fertility, or it is to help with fertility, right? So, but this herb, I tell women, you know, if you know that you're active, you want to, good night, reggae girl, you want to do a pregnancy test first. I think it was even last week or 2 weeks ago, I met a young lady who had taken it and who had a miscarriage, right? So some women take it and then do a pregnancy test first, only to find out that it would have given them a miscarriage. So it is a nervine. It is a nervine and it is a uterine. So when you take this herb, what it does is that it causes abdominal contractions. That's how it actually helps to clean the fallopian tubes. When a woman takes it, she's gonna feel her right below her abdomen on both sides where the ovaries are. She's gonna feel it. She's gonna feel contraction like that. And sometimes that contraction will cause increased vaginal discharge, or it can also cause bleeding, or it can also cause spotting or bring back the menstrual cycle. This herb is a very, very powerful herb, and it helps with a number of menstrual problems. So it helps with, so as I said before, if a woman is having a menstrual cycle, then this is not a herb that she wants to take, because it will cause her to bleed heavier and also bleed for an extended period of time. So you don't want to drink that. Welcome, Jeffrey. Good to see you, man. So this herb is not a herb that you want to take not being under the care of somebody who knows what they're doing. Because if you take this herb and you weren't properly prepared for it, meaning that you took it at the wrong time or you took too much, this can send you to the hospital with a hemorrhaging. All right? But when taken or when used properly, then it is an excellent remedy for blocked fallopian tubes, infertility, and it can also be used for menstrual cramps as well. If you take it about a week before your menstrual cycle, then it can also help you to have a painless menstrual cycle. So take it 1 week before, and what it does is that it helps you to have a painless menstrual cycle. All right. So So it's called dog blood because the berries of the plant, when you rapture the berries, then it's gonna produce a dye from the fruit that pretty much looks like blood. So it's called dog blood. So it's very good for menstrual issues. All right. This is one herb, and let me see if I can. Let me show you another herb that's good as well. Not that one. This one. All right. So this one is called cat's tongue. All right. This herb is called cat's tongue, and it's called cat's tongue because the berries of this plant, those round little fruit that you're seeing there, they are very sticky, and so when you pass, they tend to stick to your clothes. All right. Peter Flynn, Aquaba. Right? It tends to stick to your clothes. And if you notice, it has that nice little purple flower. This herb is also from the verbena family, from which vervain is from. So this is actually a good herb to combine with vervain. And as I was saying, that if you take this herb a week before the menstrual cycle, it typically helps to have a painless menstruation. This is also one of the herbs that is taken. Remember, the dog blood that we just looked at works similar to this. And by the way, dog blood, like this herb, can be taken when contraction starts. When we say that it is abortive in nature, it is because it causes contraction of the womb. So if a woman is taken into labor, this is a herb that was used by the midwives. So once she starts to have contractions, then that woman would be given a tea, a cup of tea or more of this herb, and along with dog blood, and they would have been given it while they're having contractions. And what it does is that it helps the birthing process in that it reduces the discomfort, it reduces the pain, because what it helps to do is to open the birth canal for the birth to be a painless experience. So this herb is a herb that is very useful. I mean, nowadays, a lot of persons don't know this herb because children are now delivered in hospitals. When a woman is pregnant, that responsibility is given to the hospital. So that is where the woman will go and she'll give birth. But up to 60 years ago, 70 years ago, majority of the births took place in homes. There were home deliveries. And so the midwife had to be skilled in knowing what to do to make the birthing process as easy as possible. And so these were the herbs given that would help in the delivery process. And these were also some of the herbs that were given post delivery. So after the woman had the baby, the midwife would also give the woman a list of herbs to drink that would potentially help to clean the womb and allow her to pass out any placenta or anything that was left after the birthing process. And so she would have done that, and it would have helped her to clean the womb, tone the womb, and help it to rebuild, help it to go back into shape. So these herbs were very, very important herbs, and it is sad that a lot of young women now don't know these herbs, and what they actually turn to, is painkillers, that cause sometimes a lot more undesirable side effects than these natural plants. But you know, as I said, we're heading in a time now. Tell persons that the next crisis is going to be a food and medicine crisis. That's the next crisis. And a lot of persons wait until there's a crisis, until their back is against the wall, to want to at that point want to know what they need to know in order to in order to help themselves, in order to better themselves. Elaine says, what can help a child who breaks a bone at least twice per day? That child is now in the children's hospital. Now that child, it's sounds as if the child has cancer. That child sounds as if they have cancer, and so breaking the bone is only a symptom of something bigger. So as much as breaking the bone is a problem, and we'd want to fix that, we would want to know what is the underlying factor that is causing the brittle bone or the breaking bone. Because the break of the bone is a symptom, not the cause. Right? So we have to look at what is the cause to resolve the issue. Right? So I would have to know more about that. Definitely, you have to fix it at the root. It more than likely is sometimes an overproduction of or an underproduction of key minerals, and so we would want to find out what is at the root of that before we can say. But definitely, the brittle bone or the break of the bone is a symptom. So we don't respond to symptoms necessarily. We try to resolve them, but what we focus on is the root cause. All right. So these are some key herbs for menstrual issues that we just looked at. Let's look at the next herb. We looked at that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. This one. I wanted to give you a different view, but this is a herb called woman piaba. Right? Woman piaba. And this is a herb that helps women who are in menopause, so still menstrual issues. But if you've gone into the menopausal age group, this herb is called woman piaba. The scientific name, if you want to look it up, is Hyptis pectinata. I didn't put that there. Hyptis pectinata. So if you look up that word, Hyptis pectinata, you can have some other images. Also, we have a video on our website at ICMTV. ICMTV. If you go to my website, ICMTV, and type in this herb, a woman piaba, I have a video there where I've some very good shots and pictures of the herb if you're in Jamaica. But this herb helps women who are in the menopausal time of their life. Reggae girls, the child may lack of calcium, so yeah, definitely can cause that. All right. So a number of challenges, a number of problems, a number of reasons could be responsible for that problem. All right. But this plant, woman piaba, is extremely good. If you're watching the show tonight and if you're having hot flashes, if you're having mood swings, if you are not having a period, because when you're going into menopause, you're transitioning to menopause, what happens sometimes is that you don't have period for some months, and then another month it may come back heavy. All right, this herb does very well balance in the body, because when you reach menopause, what happens is that your estrogen level begins to fluctuate. Menopause is actually a state where the body is confused, because the body is accustomed to producing a certain amount of estrogen every month. And right now, the body is getting ready to stop producing that certain amount. And so the body is confused. And so because the body is confused, it has a number of reactions. All right? So what this plant does is that this plant helps to supply the body with estrogen. So the body thinks it's still producing estrogen. So the hot flashes, the irregular cycles, the mood swings, if you're taking this plant, it helps to minimize or to reduce those symptoms. So this plant is very good for that. So it tastes very well too, because it's a herb from the mint family. So it almost tastes like you're drinking a mint tea. If this herb is also combined with like wild basil, and it works well for menopause. So for women who are having menopausal issues, this is one of the best herbs that I know locally here in Jamaica for menopause issues. So those are some of the herbs. Also, if you're not in Jamaica right now, if you're living outside of Jamaica, red raspberry leaf, that's another very good herb for menopause. There's chasteberry, which is also very good. Balances the hormones, and it also helps to regulate the cycle. And then there's chamomile, which also helps mood swings and anxiety. And so you can drink it in the morning, and you can drink it before bed, and it helps to relax you, and it helps you to cope and to function. So these are a very good herb. Let me see if do we have another herb, or that's all the herbs? Let me see, do you have another herb? I think those are all the herbs. We looked at all the herbs. All right, so in terms of inflammation also, there is the soursop leaf. Yes, soursop leaf is also very good for dealing with inflammation as well. So it helps to sleep, but it also helps with inflammation. All right, so any questions, guys? All right, no question. All right, Elaine says chamomile tea is great to drink. All right, so these are some common ailments that affect people almost every day. All right, so this is this one. Which one is this one? This is not it. This is not the iptispectinate at all. All right. So, these are just some of the herbs that are found around us. They are found almost in our yards, in our communities. And as I was saying, that we're in a time now when a lot of persons don't know plants. Elaine says, is there anything for snoring? Yeah, one of the things that helps with snoring is losing the weight, because of what causes the snoring most of the time. But there's no herb that you can take for snoring particularly. In order to reduce snoring, you want to reduce your weight. Peter Flynn says, I have one question. What is the difference between busy and cola nut? There's none. Busy and cola nut are the same. And busy and cola nut was used a lot for poisoning. was used for poisoning. It was it was used for a lot of and then later on they found out that a beverage became famous from cola nut, which is a Coca-Cola, of course. Reggae Girl says, what someone should take for weak nerves in their foot. All right, so if you're having weak nerve in your foot, it could be a bulging disc. It could be an indication of uh, problems within the vertebral column. And so I couldn't just say, okay, you could take this. We'll have to know more, because it could be a vertebral column problem, which is a physical problem. Dislocated disc could be a disease of the vertebral column that has caused degenerative uh, 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 symptoms to manifest in the form of weak nerves. So it could be a host of problems, and it could not just be easily be fixed by just drinking something or taking something. Most of the time, it could also be caused by trauma, accident, pinched nerve. So many things would cause that. So, it's not as easy as taking something. It's usually it would involve some manipulation. Anything for stinky feet or sweaty feet. Well, I know baking soda is very good. Peppermint oil is also very good. Clove oil is also very good. So those oils, clove oils, peppermint oils, those oils are very good for the feet, getting rid of that problem. All right. I'm just keeping it. All right. So I like the cream, but I get skin ulcer when I eat ice cream. All right. So if when you eat ice cream, you get skin ulcer, it means that maybe you need to do a detox. But that pus is that ulcer is actually because of inflammation or mucus in the system, and so you definitely should be avoided. But that if when you eat it you get an ulcer, it's an indication that there is inflammation in your system, and you would benefit from a cleanse, possibly a blood cleanse, right? So that is what that is potentially indicating. You need to cleanse your system, and you will find that if you do a proper cleanse, if you eat it at least once or twice, you won't have that flare up. Right? But what happens is that because of how the amount of mucus that you have, or because of how acidic your body is, when you eat that milk, which is also acidic, it's not taking a lot for you to have those symptoms. OT says tea tree oil is also very good. It's also very good. Marilyn Mollison, please call me tomorrow. All right, Marilyn, I know the name, but trust me, I wouldn't even. It's better you call me. And what I'm saying to persons, I think I gave OT a number. Just call me, and I'll follow up. But guys, those are the herbs that I have. I wanted to do at least 2 hours, but we may have to cut it off at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Because those were, I could have, but those weren't the plans that I was prepared to share with you this evening. Unless you have any questions. Tea tree can be irritating. Right. Thank you for that, Joel Vaz. Tea tree can be irritating if it is too strong. And so you want to be careful. Also, if you have any open wound or cut, you want to be careful in using tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is one of those oil that you want to dilute, especially with neem oil or coconut oil. You want to definitely dilute it because it can be very strong. Elaine says, what can cause lactose intolerance, sir? So lactose intolerance is due to certain protein, because lactose is a type of protein, and there are different types of proteins. Right? So there are different types of proteins. But you may have a negative reaction, an allergic reaction to that particular type of protein. Just like how some persons are allergic to fish, what happens is that they have a negative response to that type of protein. So lactose intolerance is just not tolerating or not properly tolerating dairy protein, that type of protein. All right. So you want to be very careful with that. Philip says eucalyptus benefits and use. Eucalyptus is one of the best herbs for the respiratory system. Helps to get rid of mucus. You can get the hot water. A very good way of using eucalyptus, by the way, is getting like a hot water and dripping the eucalyptus in it and then inhaling it. It helps, especially for persons who are asthma. Eucalyptus oil helps to open the lungs and the bronchial passages, which helps with air going in. So eucalyptus is very good for that. All right. So thank you guys for being on. Just put the number up one more time. Put the number first. That's one number. No, I'm really stressing on persons. Please call these numbers, even if you have my number, because most of the time you call me, I'm on the phone with somebody or I'm engaged. What I've done is I've assigned a person on our team, two persons on our team, and I've given them two phones with these two new numbers. Because one of my challenges is that most times you call me, you'll get a text message that says, sorry, I can't take your call right now. It's not that I don't intend to call you back, but a lot of times I forget. And what's happening to me, when I don't get to call back person, it really stresses me out. I spend a lot of my time trying to remember who to call back. And that stress is not good for me. So one way that I manage now is I tell the persons, if you do get me, and I'm supposed to send you something or give you something, please don't let me go until I log it on my diary. Because the only way I'm going to remember is if you see me put it on my diary on my phone, which is a reminder will come up. And that sometimes I can't do. So even though that's one way I would want to remember, there are times that I just can't do that. And people do end up getting lost in the system. So the best way, this is the absolutely best way to get me. This way you don't have to try to call me many, many times and can't get me. If you call these two numbers or WhatsApp, so because there are times that they'll not take the calls outside of work hours. So if you leave a message, I'm telling you, they will ensure that I call you, because they will not just forward the information to me and leave me. They will ensure they won't stop ask me until I return all of these calls. So the best way to get me, I can tell you, is to reach me on these numbers. So even if you have my number, that's not the best way to get me. The best way to get me is through these numbers. All right. So thank you very much again for being on. Rattigan will be on next week, and I'll be with him. Also want to remind you of this COVID-19 injury recovery weekend that's coming up. The flyers is there again if you're interested, because sometimes the text is small. If you're interested in that, in this weekend that's coming up, the last one is for April 27th, 26th to the 27th. It's the last one. You can just, if you want more information, reach out to me on these numbers, and I'll be more than happy to share with you. All right. So again, guys, thank you. If you haven't signed the Magnitsky Petition, guys, please do so. And if you have signed it already, share it with at least 5 persons. And if you've shared it with 5 persons already, share it with 5 more persons tonight. because we want to get the word out there. So I want to big up Ratty, who is not here tonight. I know that he may be watching, and or if not, then he's getting his well-deserved rest. But all being well, next week he will be on with us again. Thank you for spending the time with us, and see you all next week. Bye-bye.